Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be working through some two-step equations, being able to solve them. When we are solving equations, our goal is to get the variable by itself. We need to isolate the variable, get the variable on one side, everything else on the other. Now, we have 6 problems that we're going to be working through. 1 and 2 we're going to go through together, working through the equations all the way to the answer. 3 and 4, we'll get started and you'll finish them up. And then 5 and 6, we'll look at them, but you'll be working those out on your own. So let's go ahead and look at number 1. So number 1, I see my variable is m. I need to get that by itself. I'm always going to start, I want to really focus and try to get rid of that constant first. Here I have a plus 15. Now when we are talking equations, we want to use opposites to be able to help us isolate. So the opposite, the inverse of addition is subtraction. And so if I see addition, I know to undo it, I need to use subtraction. Now also the opposite of subtraction is also going to be addition. So that helps me be able to undo addition and subtraction. When I talk about multiplication and I want to get rid of multiplication, the opposite, the inverse operation of multiplication is division. So to undo multiplication, I do division. To undo division, I do multiplication. So let's look at number 1. So we have this m. So I'm going to get rid of the addition first. The opposite of plus 15 is minus 15. Now, I have this equal sign, so I always have to, if I do something to one side of the equation, I have to do the same thing to the other side of the equation. So, I'm going to also do this minus 15 right here, because this equal sign, when I'm talking about sides, that's what I'm talking about. So, 15 minus 15, that gives me 0. That's going to leave me with 6m equals 9 minus 15. I need to think in my head how to do that with those integers. And when I do 9 minus 15, that's going to give me a negative 6. Now, m is still not by itself, so I'm not done yet. I see this 6 and m. When that number is right beside the variable, that means that they are multiplying. So again, if I have multiplication, I need to do the inverse. That's division. So the opposite of multiply by 6 is divide by 6. If I do it on the left side, I have to do it on the right side. 6 divided by 6 is 1, so that gives me 1m equals negative 6 divided by 6 is negative 1. Now, I can go back and I can check. I can take that negative 1 and put it in my equation. So I can go 6 times negative 1 plus 15 equals 9. So, am I right? 6 times negative 1 is negative 6 plus 15. Negative 6 plus 15, that gives me 9, which equals 9. So, am I right? Yes, we're correct. Now, let's go ahead and look at number 2, because number 2 is a little bit different for us. So let's walk through number 2 together. So our variable, we have x. We've got to get x by itself. So I'm going to start off getting rid of my addition and subtraction first thing. So I have minus 7. My inverse, my opposite of minus 7 is add 7. If I add 7 on the left, I have to add 7 on the right. Negative 7 plus 7 is 0. That leaves me with x divided by 4 equals 9 plus 7 is 16. So, now I'm going to be trying to figure out what needs to happen next, because x is still not by itself. So, right now I have x divided by 4. The opposite of divide by 4 is times 4. If I times 4 on the left, I have to times 4 on the right. Now, this is going to end up leaving me with an x equals And then 16 times 4 gives me 64. Now, again, I can check it and see if I'm right. So I'm going to take that x and I'm going to take it and put it right back in my equation. So that's going to look like 64 divided by 4 minus 7 equals 9. So working through, 64 divided by 4, 16 minus 7. 16 minus 7 is 9. Okay, so I'm correct. All right, so we're going to pause right there just for a moment. All right, so picking it up with number 3. So 3 and 4, we're gonna get started with it, and then you will pick it up from there. So number 3, f is our variable. Our goal is to get it by itself. So I see that minus 6. That's going to be the first thing that I try to get rid of. The opposite of minus 6 or negative 6 is a positive 6. If I add 6 there, I add 6 here. Negative 6 plus 6, that's going to zero out. That's going to end up with f divided by 3 equals 2 plus 6 gives me 8. Now, it's not done yet. F is not by itself. So remember that we need to get f by itself, so we've got to do the opposite of this divide. Remember, the opposite of divide is times. So we have to times by 3 times by 3. Finish that up, and that will let you know what f equals. Let's go ahead and look at number 4. Okay, number 4, we have a y that we need to try to get by itself. With that y, we have a 25. Even though I can't see it, there's not a little plus there. That is a positive 25. The opposite of plus 25 or positive 25 is negative 25. If I minus 25 there, I also minus 25 here. 4 minus 25 gives me a negative 21 equals, I have to bring this whole thing down. That gives me a negative 7y. Now, y is still not by itself, so we have to keep on working. Remember that when you have a number right beside the variable, that means that they are multiplying. So the opposite of multiplying is division. So you're going to have to divide. You have to divide by this negative 7. Okay? So remember to do that on both sides. Finish that up, and then you'll figure out what y equals. Now, number 5. Number 5, you're going to do that one on your own. You have 34 minus 7q equals negative 8. So remember though, even though you can't see that, that's a positive 34 that you're going to get rid of. And the opposite of a plus 34 would be a minus 34 or a negative 34. So keep that in mind as you're finishing that one up. And then don't forget, on this back side, you had one more to finish up with number 6. So with number 6, a is your variable. And so you're going to work through doing both steps to get a by itself to find out what a equals. All right, I wish you luck. We'll see you tomorrow with your equations.